Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring DoW2 the Elite Mod. Red-Rupee here calling the shots for you tonight. As always, we've got another great one-on-one match here on calderis Refinery. Leading us off, Mr. Ar-Aamon with the Eldar Farseer hitting the fleet of foot right out of the gate here. And his opposing player on the blue side, Mr. Khorne, as the mech boy, also using a movement ability there, but a little more violently teleporting out. That mech boy is going to be quite a nuisance on calderis Refinery, of course, with these raised victory points right across the center belt here. He can teleport around, really keep the pressure on with these victory points and resource points spread all over the place. Look how quickly he gets out there to the center. Of course, Eldar's a very mobile army as well, so hopefully they'll be able to mitigate some of that map control advantage. They always tend to be all over the place, a bit ubiquitous with their fleet of foot. Whenever you expect them to not be somewhere between fleet of foot and webway gates, they'll find a way to get there. Ar-Aamon going for the double dire Avengers right out of the gate, as opposed to getting the Banshees first. I'm fine with that. You figure against an army where you have potential melee engagements and such, you don't really want the Banshees to engage right away anyways. You don't really want to wait until they get their upgrades, so that's probably gonna be just fine. Not a big deal on that little switch up on the build order there, but you know. Khorne going with the double shooters as would be expected from the mech boy, and it looks like the Orks are going to take the center victory point and start putting the pressure on the Eldar to get started here. Banshees heading around to the eastern side to maybe put some pressure on the power node. You have dire Avengers scouting out on the west. Seeing, looks like both players are going to head straight for the power nodes. Got the mech boy going for the triple DoW2 as the first upgrade. That's really going to put a lot of potential bleed pressure on the Eldar players, that upgraded DPS for the mech boy. That's really all it does. It doesn't change his abilities or damage type or anything like that. It just straight up DPS increase. Makes him pretty formidable and picks off dire Avenger and Banshees bottles like no one's business. We got dire Avengers dodging all over the place on this side of the map, just stalling out the Orks, which bought enough time for Ar-Aamon to get back over here and potentially stop this gen bash. Still going to be tricky to engage, especially if those Banshees just standing there taking fire. Oh, that was a slightly unfortunate play right there. Little hesitation from Ar-Aamon, I guess, while he was moving his Guardians around. Forced his Banshees off without any contest. And the Farseer did get the decap, so. And then dire Avengers way on the backside there, getting the decap on the natural point. Slugger Boys getting ready to engage, dodge the grenade spike nice and easily, even catch one of their own. They're going to have to get out of there, so the Slugger Boys and Shooters now going to have uncontested gen bash right there. Still, it looks like Eldar at least trying to keep some pressure on the victory points. There aren't any gens up, so it won't be a huge loss. Ar-Aamon did not decide to drop anything, knowing that Orc threat was ever present. Banshees are moving in, getting their aspect of strength. I think that's a good choice for Orcs as well. They have... Having that heavy melee allows Banshees to threaten some of the lighter Orc vehicles, like trucks or something along those lines. At least can challenge them. Always dangerous to run up to an Orc truck and start smacking it though, because who knows what's going to come out of it. A 2-0 cap right now for the Eldar. Looks like it's going to be a 3-0 cap for at least a moment. Still can't quite get a hold of this gen farm. He might just want to drop some generators over here on the secondary farm, and just to keep up in tech. He's got the shuriken weapon team coming out here shortly, so that'll definitely aid quite a bit in dealing with this shooter boy menace over here. We've got a Knob coming down on one squad, we've got the big shooter on the other, and then Flamer's already upgraded from the Slugger Boys. So all the Orc squads getting upgraded, including the mech himself. We've got Aspect on one of the dire Avenger squads. Again, finding himself kind of out of position. Ar-Aamon's been kind of throwing these engagements a little bit by moving in singular squads to get shot up by these Orcs. You got to be very careful with all that shooter boy DPS, how you choose to engage, and it really gives the Orcs the initiative once you have to retreat either a hero or even a lone squad. So now he'll be able to use his Banshees to counter-initiate with the mech boy, who's probably just going to try to jump right in on the shuriken weapons team. Shooter boys might be able to suppress it, but they won't be able to out-DPS it with it sitting in that green cover. So yeah, here comes the Mech Boy, and the Banshees are right there, ready to take him out. Banshees will chop him up nice and quick. Oh no, they get a knockdown too. He hits the retreat button, but it might be too late. Does he go down? I think he will. Down he goes. Easy kill for a squad of Banshees, that little Mech Boy. Trying to disrupt that Guardian Weapons team, and that's exactly what Ar-Aamon wanted. And that's how you use Banshees against a Mech Boy. Ooh, Khorne's going for some Storm Boys at the moment. He's got to fix his Orks back up. Eldar are going to spread all over the map and take some points. They're already up by about 100 VPs, but they are a bit behind on tech. Looks like we're going to have a second weapons team on the field here shortly. Orks have a full gen farm. Eldar still has just the one generator, going a little heavy on the requisition with double Guardians, or sorry, double Dire Avengers and a double Guardian Weapons team. Ruby's been managed to keep his loss minimal though, which is pretty excellent considering he's against the Mech Boy and double shooters. Between those three ranged squads, it's really difficult to keep all of your squad models up without taking heavy losses really quickly. So Storm Boy is pretty common with the Mech Boy. You'll see him probably get that battery pack to have a taste ability, which will allow these Storm Boys to really stay in a bit longer than they would be able to otherwise. This weapons team in a lot of trouble. The second one wasn't, oh no, it looks like it wasn't quite set up to cover the first. But they do fall out, unfortunately. I think with a nice flank though, if he spots that second cannon, he can just run around the backside here. Banshee's still lingering over there on the west. Shooter Boys could probably just aiming what's that and then burst down that Guardian Weapons team, but with the second one there, they all get suppressed. Banshee's moving in. Slugger Boys en route to intercept, but I'm not sure they're going to get there in time. And they're going to run right into that suppression, which isn't going to work out for them at all. Banshees turn to engage once the Orks get suppressed and start hacking them up. And the Farseer is there as well. Another one engagement for the Eldar player. Banshees even trying to finish off that Slugger squad. Not quite going to be able to do it, but they do manage to get it down to one model, so that's not insignificant amount of bleed right there. Orks heading into Tier 2. Ar-Aamon is not far behind, but if Khorne decides to get himself a quick Tier 2 unit, maybe grab a truck to drive behind these Shuriken weapons teams with those Slugger Boys, would be uncontested at least for a little while. 300 to 466 though at the moment, and things are looking pretty good for our Eldar player. A little behind in tech, only about a minute or so. Could probably stand to toss another generator up or something like that. I guess he's looking pretty good though. With when you have both the contested and one of a secondary gen farm, he's still actually out generating his opponent. So sitting there, generally around 50 is where you want to be. For the record. 280 to 466 though, and the Orks really need to get out there. Here comes the first assault jump from those Storm Boys. A grenade goes down kind of right in the middle of everything. Makes bits out of a couple Orks. Doesn't do heavy damage, but at least makes those Shooter Boys think twice. Once those Shooter Boys get those knobs, man, they are pretty resilient. Orks trying to rally for a position here with only the one Shuriken out here at the moment. He's got the opportunity to get in another Gen Bash. He's really got to start focusing on those VPs. If that deficit gets too much higher, it's going to be really difficult to get back into this game. Ar-Aamon's sitting with a big pile of requisition at this point. I wonder what he's going to go for in Tier 2 here. Banshee's getting shut up, losing a model or two before they even get anywhere. They need to be very careful. Will they get out of there? They do. Everything retreats. Mech Boy may... Oh, nope. He decides to go for the Shuriken instead. With these Storm Boys coming in here. Still no Avid-Taste, I don't think. No battery pack on there. Oh, Warp Spiders. Don't see that very often. That's a good... That's a good high-rec, low-power purchase. I think that's good for his economy at the moment. And it'll really allow him to take control of those ancillary points. Warp Spiders can be just about everywhere, and they can pretty much handle any sort of capping squad. Any one lone squad they can normally deal with. If it's melee, they can teleport around. If it's range, they can teleport into the favorable range cover position.
Got a job for us.
And ooh, we've got a Death Dread hit. A bit late considering. Well, I guess it wasn't that late, but I feel like you could have brought it out a little bit earlier. Oh, Storm Boys jump in, but realize a face full of Banshee isn't what they were looking for. They get out of there, costing them a couple models though, getting their improved rocket pads and their knob as they're on retreat if they lose 3 models. Expensive to reinforce those Storm Boys get if you keep bleeding like that, which is almost inevitable. Slugger Boys with their big name knob doing some capping on the outskirts of calderis. And the Eldar just looks like he's gonna take that center and sit tight. Not that the Mech Boy has anything to say about it though. Alright, here comes the Death Dread. There's nothing out here that can really deal with it at the moment, but it wouldn't be difficult to upgrade a Bright Lance and get the Haywire Grenade on those Warp Spiders and wait for a slight overextension on this Death Dread, then finish it off. Looks like we've got the Rune Armor on the Farseer. That was the Psychic Storm, I believe. Suppresses and deals a nice bit of AoE damage. Oof! Big hit on that freshly upgraded Bright Lance cannon. Death Dread needs to pay attention. Don't go into that base, Death Dread. I don't think that's going to work out for you. Warp Spiders hanging out with the Farseer. Banshee's going for a little bit of gen bash. Looks like they managed to tag a single generator before getting pushed off. Death Dread taking a couple parting shots. So Orcs got pretty good control of the map now with that Death Dread, locking things down pretty well. Gonna have to be careful of the Warp Spiders, but that's about it. Even if those Warp Spiders teleport in for a Haywire, they're gonna get instantly bursted down by these 3 range squads. So the Warp Spiders are gonna have to be very careful how they approach that. I see a lot of people just get overexcited and just warp right in and go for a Haywire, but against Orcs, you gotta be very careful. Farseer out here by herself, getting some points, scouting around, seeing what the Orcs are up to. Looks like they're moving in on the gens once again. Never had a full gen farm up, Mr. Ar-Aamon, at this point, but doing all right, keeping up with tech. Stormboy's gonna bash some more over there. Keeping some constant wreck lead, at least in the way of bashing generators and power nodes. But Khorne hasn't really been doing too much else. He's managing to close this victory point deficit though, and just about ready to turn it around. Warp Spiders can't deal with 2 squads of Shooter Boys, fully upgrade both with their knobs and their big shooters. That's going to be the end of yet another power node. Shuriken moving in, those Warp Spiders don't want to engage unless they're in cover. But the shooters just back off anyways. They probably could have lit those Warp Spiders up if they wanted to, but they recognized the Shuriken was a threat. Banshees and Bright Lance moving into position. Nice looking, oh man, I lied. That was not a very nice grenade. That didn't work out for the Guardians much at all. Bright Lance starting to get some shots in on that Death Dread. Here come all the Orcs moving in there. Banshee's ready to engage with those Storm Boys. Habitat's finally up here for these Storms, but right after they jumped in, they got suppressed. Oh, and a big heavy attack from those Banshees almost obliterated the squad right then and there. They might even go down. Oh, that's a big loss. Psychic Storm doing huge damage to those Shooter Boys as well. Death Dread goes down. This is a botched engagement for sure. Very fortuitous for Mr. Ar-Aamon that was so poorly handled by Khorne. Banshees may even get us. Oh my goodness. If they had stuck around just a second longer, I don't know. That was dangerous. Slugger Boys do get in on this Bright Lance. That might be it. Bright Lance did its work, though. It got rid of the Death Dread. It could be worse at this point. All things considered, that was a win for Ar-Aamon. Both sides had taken some losses there, but Khorne lost both his Shooter Boys, or sorry, his Storm Boys, and his little mech there. So those Storm Boys were pretty integral to the way he was dealing with this army. Got a little overzealous. As soon as those Banshees got off that special attack, he should have gotten them the heck out of there. Right after he healed, they knocked off that health nice and quick. He is going into Tier 3. He does have the tech advantage, while Ar-Aamon's going for another Shuriken Cannon. And in Tier 3, either pretty much anything will be great. Get knobs, get a tank, it's all gravy. I'm always in favor of tanks, you know me. I just want to see tanks, man. You'd have to play it very carefully, of course, with that Haywire potential and the Bright Lance out there, now that he doesn't have a disruption squad to jump on whatever setup team is there to challenge whatever vehicle he may or may not have. 228 to 276 and all is quiet. Just some orcs poking around on the outskirts here. Gonna try to get in on those Guardians. Orc Spiders here, realizing they're outgunned, they decide to fall back. Banshee's looking to maybe snag another generator or finish off that previously damaged power node, while the Shooter Boys decap that backline requisition. But requisition doesn't even matter for Ar-Aamon. Ar-Amon's sitting on almost 700 at the moment. Knobs coming onto the field, and the Banshees will be powerful against that, but I don't think they'll be quite enough. He's going to need to play around that Shuriken team. Eldar doesn't really have any knockback available for them to deal with the frenzy either, so this lone Shuriken cannon is going to have a hard time dealing with it. He's really going to have to position both of those Shurikens well to deal with the threat of the knobs. Psychic Storm going down again, forcing off those Shooter Boys. The second squad might be able to scare off the Farseer if they get good positioning. 186 to 276 though, and the Orc needs to do something to get back into this game. He lost his gen farm, he's lost most of the map. Shortly he's going to be sitting on just his enemy's requisition points. Shooter's sitting idle over here. Unfortunately, I think that maybe they forgot to finish that capture off. Mech Boy's not appreciating getting shot up. But he just walks on by, he doesn't care. Some Eldar aren't anything to be worried about. Banshee's picking off a couple shooters. Everybody's just vying for position at the moment. Mech Boy! There he goes. Oof. Are they gonna get that kill? Not if the knobs have anything to say about it. Knobs and Slug is behind the Banshees. The Banshees now circling back around so they don't have to retreat through that mess. See what this Orc melee pile is going to be able to do here. Ar-Aamon unable to go into Tier 3 at the moment. So Khorne's going to keep the tech advantage.
Adding to our post, boss.
Want me to claim another?
Be interesting to see how he chooses to deal with these knobs. I think he has seen them. Oh, there we go. That's how he's going to deal with it. He's got the gravity blade. I think as soon as he saw those knobs, he went right for that gravity blade. That's what's slowing down his tech right here. But if he can get that Farseer in between the knobs and their target, he can levitate them during that frenzy and then take them out, keep them suppressed. But the trick is just keeping them down during that frenzy. He does have a good setup here. Knobs are going to manage to get out of that suppression fire. Maybe take out that weapon team. Pulls them off just before they get the final kill. Putting some pressure on the Banshees, but just before the hammers drop. Levitation field's activated. Knobs get tossed all over the place. Oh no, but right into that setup team. Shooter Boy's getting torn up by Warp Spiders. The Warp Spiders with Guide doing crazy damage right now. Psychic Storm, suppressing the second squad. Very good control here by Ar-Aamon. Down goes the Mech Boy, but trading for the Farseer as well. Oof! Chain Axe right on the face. Khorne's bought himself a little bit of time here. His resources starting to stack back up. Might be able to get himself another tier 3 unit if he chooses not to resurrect his Mech Boy at the moment. Power finally setting in favor of our Eldar player. Gen's up on 2 locations. Both contested spots are noted, and he's heading into tier 3 with what will be a nice bit of resource. Probably get himself something out here soon as well. He's got the levitation field, so he doesn't really necessarily need a fire prison to deal with these knobs or anything like that. Do like fire prisms against Orc, that big AoE knockback, keeping their piles under control. But with the levitation field and those banshees, not necessarily needed. Frenzy getting activated! And both of those setup teams are gonna have to get out of there. Set them up a bit too close to each other. You don't necessarily need them to cover each other in this situation. You want the second squad just pretty far back, I think, because you want to outlast that frenzy. Lots of Slugger Boys going down to Banshees once again. Only the knob is going home. Orc Grot is not happy. Not happy at all. Farseer is back up. Moving in on these knobs once again, going right in for that levitation. Picking them up and forcing them to retreat nice and easy. Otherwise they'd be taking 2-point blank volleys of shuriken fire. Man, oh man. Banshee's level 4. Getting lots of kills. Look, the Shooter Boy's level 3 though. Along with the mech. Been on retreat doing some pretty heavy damage there. See, I feel like this is actually a bit too close than we want for even with knobs. But we'll see how it works out. Got the levitation if he needs it. Knobs are on retreat. Mech Boy teleporting in. Probably didn't even really need to suppress there, or retreat there. With that Shooter Boy blob getting singularly taken out and routed by the Gravity Blade, or sorry, the Rune Armor. Psychic Storm once again. Spirit Stones. Oh man, and a Seer Council on the field. That's something that can contend with those knobs, especially with that levitation field. He can trap those knobs, or these sluggers, for instance. This is exactly the nastiness. They do take retreat, reduced damage while in that levitation state. But even so, reduced damage from Seer Council is still pretty heavy damage. Man.
That's a trick, right?
Alright, so level 1 Seer Council, level 4 Banshees. That should be able to be enough melee force to deal with the knobs. We've got a second squad of knobs on the field. I honestly would have preferred a tank. Looted tank. Would have forced at least one of these suppressions teams into a Bright Lance, and then you only have one to deal with. I'm just always a fan of varied threats. If you can have different types of threats on the field, I think that always works out better for you. Give some more stuff for your opponent to think about, and hopefully they'll mess up at least somewhere in the engagement. Frenzy gets activated. Banshees and Seer Council and Farseer moving in on the knobs. Levitation gets activated, but the second squad of knobs goes in. Possibly activated Frenzy a bit too early, though, as they are going to get suppressed by that Shuriken weapons team. The first squad of knobs get ripped apart by the Banshees and the Seer Council. It's gonna go down. That's one squad of knobs down. The second squad doesn't even look like they're gonna be doing too well at all, as the levitation field was, or sorry, not levitation field, psychic storm suppressed all of the shooter boys. And what awesome control from this Farseer. This is great Farseer play. She's even got the spirit stones to heal up the melee squads. 2 squads of knobs, no problem for this Eldar player. 48 to 177. The Orks trying to do what they can. Oh my gosh, these knobs. They're gonna go down again. If these knobs go down, that's it. That's 2 squads of knobs down to this Seer Council. This Seer Council's gotta be what? They're retreating. I wanted to almost level 2. I'm surprised they aren't level 2 heading into level 3, honestly. Khorne calls the GG. And I have to agree on that one. You lose both of your expensive tier 3 squads.
You can turn it around, right, boss?
While the Eldar's still sitting pretty. I think that's just about it, especially with the victory point deficit. There's no time for Khorne to get back into this one. I guess he's gonna finish it out though. Shooter boys wanting to get a couple more kills just for the heck of it. Oh, now they split. Couple minor mistakes by Khorne. He's always been keeping these shooter boys blobbed up, and after he's seen that rune armor, you'd think he really would have started spreading those out, but in at least 2 engagements that we saw right there, he just had them blobbed together, and they got just taken out by Psychic Storm. They just scouted out the middle. Man, he is sick of shuriken cannons. He's just gonna drop a rocks right on top of it. Victory points are ticking down though, and I think that's going to be about it. Banshee's scaring off everything. These level 4 Banshees, nothing to mess with. Oh my gosh, look at that heal. Perfect. Banshee's up to full. Warp Spiders teleporting around. Habitate goes down, but that's not enough to deal with level 4 Banshees. Sorry, Sluggas. You're only level 2, and you've taken all kinds of extra fire. Not to mention, oh, that Gravity Blade. What a cool weapon. I love that thing. It's always good to see that used well. I think that was quite a match. I enjoyed it. Great Eldar play, great Farseer play. Khorne was doing well there in the mid game. He really started to bring it back, but that engagement where he lost his storms and his Death Dread really put him behind. I think he had a chance when he was heading into tier 3 well ahead of everything, but then he lost those squads. Kind of underestimated the Seer Council, I think, is what happened right there, but anyways, that's going to be it for me. Hope you enjoyed the game. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, drop me a line, whatever. I love hearing from you guys. Shoot me those replays, and stop by my stream if you want. But that's it from me. Have a good evening. I'll catch you guys next time.